How did life begin on Earth? What was the spark that triggered the explosion in species? The answer is cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria are photosynthetic bacteria that are the origin of chloroplasts and mitochondria of modern eukaryotes. They reside inside of eukaryotes and created food for the host, eventually leading to endosymbiosis, which is the fusion of cyanobacteria inside the eukaryote and forms the chloroplast and mitochondria. This was the basis of life as we know it and connected life to the later arising species. The Great Oxidation Event was a catastrophic event where oxygen, which was toxic to living organisms at the time, increased its atmospheric concentrations and caused millions of organisms to die and go extinct. The cause is still not completely clear, but many scientists believe that the cyanobacteria population increase was the beginning to the rise in oxygen concentration. Cyanobacteria have played fundamentally important roles in the oxygenation of the Earth. However, it is not currently known when cyanobacteria originated. Since cyanobacteria are believed to have facilitated the Great Oxidation Event, the research article outlines the origin of cyanobacteria.
Scientists have failed to find concrete evidence of cyanobacteria's microfossils until at least 300 million years after the rise in atmospheric oxygen. So since cyanobacteria cannot have traveled back in time, there is a scientific disconnect between the linkage of cyanobacteria to the Great Oxidation Event. This problem has been compounded by the absence of a robust phylogeny and consequently a lack of knowledge regarding the evolution of traits such as multicellularity. This phylogeny, extrapolated in 2010, is biased toward believing that multicellularity is a monophyletic group, when in fact evolution can include reversible cell differentiation back to unicellular as well. Therefore, a monophyletic branch can misrepresent the time period that multicellularity evolved.
Understanding the origin and diversification of cyanobacteria is imperative to solidifying the theory that the evolution of cyanobacteria led to the rise in atmospheric oxygen and ultimately caused the Great Oxidation Event. The geologic record of cyanobacteria is limited by scientists' ability of finding fossils, and therefore the phylogeny based on such record is largely ambiguous. Therefore, in 2012, scientists used a much more in-depth procedure to reconstruct the phylogeny of cyanobacteria and estimate the time of its origin.
In order to test this, a phylogenetic tree of about 1,220 cyanobacterial chains was put together to increase the diversity of the phylum. The cyanobacterial phylogeny and divergence times of each chain were estimated using uncorrelated evolutionary rates with Bayesian relaxed molecular clocks. The probabilities of when cyanobacteria originated are depicted in red on this graph. Blue shows the original prediction of when cyanobacteria originated. However, the new research indicates, in fact, the data supports that the origin of cyanobacteria is probably before the Great Oxidation Events, thus giving credence to the hypothesis that cyanobacteria were ultimately the cause of the Great Oxidation Event. All of the examinations estimated that cyanobacteria chains today originated before the Great Oxidation Event, which was about 2.45 billion years ago. When looking at the tree, it is determined that the multicellularity evolved at the branch leading to node 3, as shown by this graph. The data shows strong signals that the median age for node 3 to be around 2.42 to 3.08 billion years old, which is before the Great Oxidation Event. This provides crucial evidence that multicellularity does in fact coincide with the increase in atmospheric oxygen on Earth.
So what have we learned today? Cyanobacteria and multicellular life appeared some 2.5 billion years ago, just before the start of the Great Oxidation Event. The appearance of multicellular life and the occurrence of the Great Oxidation Event seem to go hand in hand as well, based off the phylogenetic evidence. This article outlines the important concepts of phylogeny and evolution. The study of phylogeny helps us understand the path of species and how they are related to each other, such as the relationship between cyanobacteria and multicellular life. Evolution is important, as it allowed the cyanobacteria to change in accordance with the Great Oxidation Event and the change of the environment and the atmosphere. Because of the evolution of cyanobacteria, you and I are able to live on this habitable planet with an abundant amount of oxygen in the atmosphere.